So in today's lesson, I'm going to show you how one thing can dramatically change your consistency when you're out on the golf course. Let's get stuck into the lesson and help you get better at golf. So we're back out on the golf courses, and I myself have just started coaching back at the driving range, and I want to share a story with you today that is really going to resonate with a lot of people, because I would imagine you found yourself back out on the golf course, the swing feels okay, but your consistency is all over the place. And I had this with one of my lessons the other day, and he came in, he'd played 2 rounds of golf already, expressed that he felt the changes we'd made over the last 6 months were really bedding in, but his consistency when he got out on the golf course relating to his distance was really down. And he couldn't figure out what this was and why that was. And the big change that was happening for this chap was his ball position. It's such a basic thing, but it has such a huge impact. So I'm going to take you through a little test today. I've got my GC2 out here, and I'm going to show you how altering the ball position in your stance can dramatically change spin rate and your carry distance. Because if you're out there and you've worked really hard on your golf swing, whether it's working on your takeaway, something in your downswing, and you make a great feeling swing and you thought, I nailed that one, I really did well. You've got your 7-iron that you normally see flies 150, and you're looking at it and you think, that's going a little bit higher than normal. Oh, that's dropping a little bit shorter, but that swing felt great. What is it? You'll probably breeze past your fundamentals. You might not look at where the weight is in your setup. You might not look at where that ball position is, but it plays a huge, huge part. So let's hit this first shot off. Like I say, I'm going to hit 3 shots. I'm going to hit one from the back of my stance, one from a good ball position near middle, and then I'm going to play one towards the further front of my stance and just show you how different this can actually alter what we're trying to do. So I'm here on the gorgeous 13th hole at Warrington Golf Club. It's cold this morning. It's 160 yards to the flag and the wind's just a little bit into. So I've got my 7-iron and we're going to start off with the middle ball position. So for those of you who don't really know where a ball position should be for a 7-iron, if I were to address this ball here, if I was taking my standard position now, we would see that the ball would be just in front of my center position. Reason for that is, as I swing, I want to shift my weight into my lead side whilst rotating, then making sure I get ball, then turf, and applying the correct loft to the golf ball, the correct amount of force, and seeing I get my desired flight. So let's give this one a go. First swing of the day as well, so hopefully it's going to be okay. We'll see how this goes. And I'm expecting this probably to go about 165 this morning. So I'm going to go normal ball position first. So just in front of centre, like I say there. Make my normal golf swing, nothing fancy. Okay, we'll see the top tracer there, the peak of the flight. I'll tell you what, I'm playing this afternoon, and if I get that, I'll be pretty happy. Wasn't my best strike, but it was okay. Okay, so some of the numbers there for you. That ball's carried 159 yards, and its backspin was 6,506 yards, and its launch angle was 14 degrees. Now, obviously, we've got to take human error into account here. You might be able to make out from there, the divot is about an inch or 2 behind, in front of the tee peg. So I got ball, then I got turf. It was a little bit skinny. I got it almost down here on the club. But like I say, I was expecting it to go 165. It's the first swing of the morning. It's cold, winds into, and that's my standard 7-iron. So this chap was hitting a few shots like that, and we saw that that was his standard number, and he would be pretty happy with what had just happened. He then comes to the next par 3, or the next fairway shot that he's going to play, and goes through his routine. He was saying we've been working on something to do with dropping his trail arm, because he was a bit of a thrower of the golf club. He's gone through his practice routine, got that feeling in. He stands up to the golf ball, and on this one now, I'm now going to place the ball more towards the front of my stance. So as I hit that previous one, it was in that good position. Now as I address this, I'm going to play it almost as if it was a driver. So about an inch or half an inch behind my lead foot. And again, trying to make the same golf swing as I'm going through. But let's see how this now affects the flight of our golf ball. So ball's in the front of my stance, and that was a far better strike than the first swing I made this morning. That was right out of the centre of the club, real efficient strike. But we'll probably see from the shot tracer, the peak of the height of the flight looked a lot higher. That's because my launch angle went up 6 degrees. So if you think about a golf club, when you're changing from your 7-iron to 8-iron, you will probably notice 3 or 4 degrees difference in loft. So I've gone up a club and a half in loft there, basically. My spin was very similar, 6,400, but the carry distance, this is the big one, and this is where my lesson was left scratching his head a little bit. That's dropped down 7 yards, so nearly that's a full club. If we think of maybe on average we would see 12 yards as an increment between average clubs. Most people are normally 10 or 15, average is out 12. 7 yards for a shot that I've just hit really well. I felt like the strike was pure, and as I watched it, it looked like a good golf shot, but then it's pulled up a lot shorter. That's not ideal. The swing felt the same, but all I've done is change that ball position. So let's hit the third one off here now and just see, when I now stick it to the back of my stance, what actually happens there. Okay, so I'm going to address it right out the back of my stance here, almost playing it off the back foot, and see what happens here. And then we're just going to summarise this, and I'm going to tell you why it's affecting you as well, and just make sure we're getting the correct one each time. So back of my stance, still got the same feeling for my golf swing. Oh wow, that has come out so low. That was probably the best strike I've had of the day. Loosening up a little bit now. Right, interesting stuff here. Real interesting stuff. So the back of the stance, very similar carry distance to the first one. We've got 158 yards. Like I say, it did feel like I got the best strike of the day. The backspin, again, very similar, very consistent, because strike's been similar on all of them. 6,400. Launch angle down to 12 degrees. But the big difference, and you probably heard me say it as I hit it, was about the flight of the golf ball. And you'll see it on that shot tracer that it came out so low, and when it actually landed as well, it went bounding on from where it did. The first one that I hit in my normal ball position had a sort of one bounce, little bit of spin, and released maybe 10 feet. The second one, where I've got the ball up in my stance, literally pitched and stopped, and then the third's gone bounding on. Because what we're doing when we alter our ball position, we are going to change the loft of the golf club. So hence why my launch angles started to go up and down there. Then depending on your quality of strike, you're going to see so much difference. And like I said at the start of the video, we'll probably breeze straight past it. If we think of watching professionals on TV, they are meticulous about their pre-swing basics, whether it's how they stand to the golf ball, how they grip the golf club, and where the ball is in their stance, because the swings are always good, or generally pretty good. So if they can do the other things, they make a good swing and they get their desired result. There's no shock coming out when they actually hit it. So we've got to make sure when we're out on the golf course that we're getting the right ball position. And a good way to summarize, your ball position for you, if you think of pitching wedge as your first ball position and then your driver as your last, your pitching wedge would be more in the center of the body, and everything else is moving up towards your lead foot. You've probably got about 12 clubs that you're going to get in there and about 6 inches of space between the middle of the body and the lead foot generally. So it's only going to be moving ½ an inch, which isn't a lot. So when I'm playing my 7-iron, it's about an inch in front of the centre as I go through. So I'm not moving it drastically, it's only these subtle changes. But if you're someone who's got the iron at the back of the stance, it's going to mean that you come down steeper into the golf ball, you deliver less loft. So if your strike's good, you trap it and you see something that wouldn't maybe carry up into the air as much, get as high a flight, so you run the risk of getting in traps at the front of the green or ponds or whatever it may be. But if you don't, when it lands, it's going to run out more. And vice versa, if you've got it too far forward in your stance here, you might not get your desired carry distance because it's going more up into the sky, and then when it lands, there's no chase on there. So, like we found with my chap in his lesson, all we really had to do was just calibrate where the ball position was throughout his golf bag and through with each club. And he walked out thinking, well, I've not really done much, but I'm hitting it so much better and so much more consistently because I now know what I'm going to deliver, or what I'm expecting to deliver is actually what I'm going to get because the ball's in the right spot. So, real simple golf lesson for us there, guys, but one that can change your golf swing. It can change your golf consistently, dramatically, all by getting the correct ball position. Give that a go, make sure it's working, check your ball position next time you're out on the golf course, and you should start playing better golf. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in your next lesson.